Today is going to be a story about faith and how sometimes faith gets tested when we are in our hardest and darkest of moments. And when I speak of faith, it doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't even need to be spiritual. But I want to share what I learned about faith, what faith is and how it showed up for me when I really felt like I was hitting another rock bottom moment. And as we know, rock bottom is often fertile ground for new beginnings and new growth. But I'm going to share a story with you today, and we'll speak about the magic of faith. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that is riding the waves right now, this continued fluctuation, contraction, expansion that I've been talking about. And I think we are going through it collectively, and we certainly have our individual stories and pathways, journeys that we're going on. So to say the least, it's on the collective level, it's tumultuous, it's chaotic, it's maddening, it's confusing, it's, everything is happening. There's a lot. There's like a too muchness to everything. There's an overwhelm. There's a cadence that, since the start of this year it's set off running, right? So there's a lot going on. And then if you add to that, whatever you're personally going through, and, I know a lot of people that are going through some stuff, like really going through some stuff. So it's an intense time, to say the least. So I'm just kind of putting that out there, that if you're feeling that, moving through that, you are so not alone. So for me personally, these last few weeks have been difficult. They've been really hard. I, went through so much last year to kind of get myself rather miraculously out of what felt like a prison, and, had to have a tremendous amount of courage and stamina and resilience and just, bravery to really let go of everything and start anew, and to travel and have this adventure and all of these things. If you've been following me, you know the story. But I went from all of this movement and change to all of a sudden just this stagnancy that has been like just immovable. And I thought that by now, kind of 10 months later, I'm going to use that timeline, even though it's longer than that, but specifically the last 10 months, I just would have thought that I would be in a very, very different place to where I am. And the frustration that has come up in me has just been that none of the things, I have thrown every trick in the book as far as manifesting, and I'm normally very good at it, but just for whatever reason, there has been this stubbornness of just no movement. And of course that makes you question, am I in the right place? What am I not seeing? Is there a blind spot? Do I need to go somewhere else? Do I need to do something different? We question ourselves. It's natural for doubt to creep in, but there is no clear answer. Normally I get a nudge if I'm meant to move in a different direction, and there's no nudge, there's no clarity, there's no signs around that, even though the signs for other things have been uncanny, absolutely uncanny. And my intuition and my psychic abilities coming online much, much stronger. But there's certain things like the basics of not finding a home and, partner and wanting to build community and all of these just very basic fundamental things, just none of it coming into fruition. And so I can feel that these last weeks I've dipped at times and fallen into just frustration and sadness, and at worst apathy, which is, as I've shared, I really at least like that place within myself, because normally there's a part that still wants to be engaged in life. And to me, apathy is a kind of giving up. But I'm not going to lie, there were points last week where I just felt I was in that place of like, I give up. Like, what more can I do or not do? Even if I let go of the trying, that's not working. And last week was an interesting one, because there was like all this expansion and then huge contraction. So we are definitely riding the waves. There's no doubt about it. So the story that I want to bring you into is I was already kind of at a low point. It was Friday, and Friday was apparently a new moon. And I was just seeing on my Instagram, people, astrologers and whatever sorts of people being like, this all new moons are a day for manifestation and visualizing and putting out your intentions of what you want to bring in for the next 6 months, yada, yada, yada. But they're like, but this new moon is really, there's magic in the air and something special. So really envision like your dream life. What are you really dreaming? And I'm like, you know what, folks, I'm not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it. Like I said, I have done every trick in the book. I have been meditating every single morning for the last almost year with intention, with the whole thing, right? All of it. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of done. I'm done. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the magic. I don't even want to set intentions or journal or manifest or meditate or visualize because I've done it all and none of it is coming to light. None of it is coming into fruition. So there was a part of me that's like, I give up. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But I was brushing my teeth that morning and thinking, okay, I can't subscribe. I can't align authentically to that. And if something is not authentic to me, there's no point in doing it. But I said, but what I am going to try to do is I'm going to try and have faith. I did say, even if I have to fake it, I'm going to try and have faith. I know faking is not very authentic, but you know what I mean. So that was my intention for the day. On a side note, be careful what you wish for, because what you wish for will often come in, but not in a way that you expect it to come in. And so, part of the theme of this story is faith will test you. So I dropped my daughter off at school, and actually it's a very easeful drive in. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. We're making such a good time. There's no traffic. I was like, yes, this is a good day. We're off to a good start, even though I wasn't feeling great in the morning. Then I'm driving myself back after dropping off my daughter, and I try to utilize the time. So sometimes I'm listening to a podcast, sometimes I'm learning Spanish, sometimes I'm listening to messages and catching up. And I listen to it through the car stereo, but I can't respond through it because the connection doesn't sound so good. So I know that it's not legal to hold your phone. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a good citizen. I'm not going to hold my phone and leave a message. So I put in my ear pods because I don't use them to listen to anything. I use them as a microphone so that the message can sound clear. The person can actually hear what I'm saying. So I think I'm being a good citizen by not holding the phone and driving at the same time. So I put the earpods in. I have them in for not even 10 seconds. And I come up to a roundabout and they're doing police checks and I get pulled over. And I can see this policeman is just that, that trained, militant, poker face, soulless shell of a human being type of person, type of character. And so not very nice, not friendly whatsoever. And he tells me that it's illegal to have ear pods in my ears. And I didn't know that. And I was like, trying to speak in a language that I don't know. I'm just like, I can't, this will literally be the straw that breaks the camel's back because I just can't take any more. And here I am saying, okay, I'm going to have faith. And my immediate feeling is, what the hell, God, source, creator, like you're stopping me with a police and you're giving me a fine, and the fine is 100 euros. Like it's no small fine. That is a massive fine. And I can feel the tears well up. I can feel the emotionality. I can feel what just feels so unfair. So, but I don't get angry at him. What happens is I end up first, I'm crying at this point because I do feel, yeah, you can just imagine. And you can imagine that I'm already feeling in a very vulnerable state just because of what these last couple weeks and months really have felt like. So at first I ask him, do you have children? He's like, doesn't matter if you have children, you're still getting this ticket. And I was like, okay. And something in me, I don't know what it was that was driving me, but it was like this last ditch attempt, because what was getting triggered in this moment was not only feeling really abandoned and rejected by God, source, universe, whatever I was meant to have faith in, but also this was representing the society that I find so sick and unhealthy. And so maybe there was something in me that was like, okay, some last ditch attempt to just try to connect to this person, heart to heart, human to human. So I ask him, I can see he's not a very pleasant person. So I ask him, are you happy? And I'm saying this like shaking, and I'm in tears, and I'm trying to speak a language that I don't know how to speak. And I said, are you happy? And he doesn't respond at first. And I ask him again, are you happy? And he said, no, I'm not happy. And I said, of course you're not happy, because this isn't life. This isn't what life should be. Life isn't giving people tickets. What life should be about is nature, connection, love, heart, living from heart, connecting heart to heart. I'm sure he's just like never had a woman speak to him like this, that he's giving a ticket. And he's just looking down at his, tablet and filling it all out and all of this stuff. And I just find myself trying to reach and connect to him heart to heart, human to human. It's like this part of me that's like just somehow trying to emit or transmit that energy of remember, 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 remember who you are. This isn't what life is meant to be about. It's not meant to be about tickets. Like, what are we doing in this society that people are going as slaves to work, doing shit that doesn't make them happy? He told me he's not happy. Right? And so that's how you can get heartless and soulless and not have any emotion on your face and just treat someone like they're not even a human being and give them a ticket and not give a shit about their story. And you're just trying to meet the quota because that's what your boss and their boss and their boss and their boss and their boss is telling them to do, is make money, 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 money. And there's no heart left in society. There's no heart left in humanity. We're not a collective. We're not a community. We're a functioning society that is based on a system that is sick, that is controlled by sick people, right? But whatever, he gives me the ticket. I didn't notice until later when I looked at the ticket when I was back home that it was actually meant to be 200 euros. He gave me a 50% off discount. And my mom said, well, maybe it was what you were saying to him. Maybe it was what you were saying to him. Who knows? I don't know. I will never know. Anyway, the story goes that I take the ticket. I have to pay for it then and there. I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking because I find it so abrasive. Like, I know that it's ultimately not about the money. That's not what got triggered. It was a lot of money. It's not something that I can pay for right now. My daughter's birthday is coming up. I could go into the whole story of why that is just like shocking for me. 100 euros is shocking. But really what I recognized that was getting triggered on the deeper level was, one, my connection to Source God and the rejection or the abandonment. But the greater one almost is the absolute just anger towards society. That it's like, I did not as a soul come down for this crap. This is not what I came down for. This is not what life is about. So I drove home and I was screaming, just screaming and roaring and crying and bawling my eyes out. And just, it was so, like, it pained my heart and my soul. And just, it was the whole kind of F you to just, why is nothing working for me? Why is nothing coming in? Why is things being actually taken and things are getting worse? And I'm not going to lie, I was completely in victim mode. I was, in just wanting to blame everyone, God, source, universe, creation, my guides, my angels. I was just like, I don't believe in any of this. God is the devil. Like, just going into this, I don't believe in anything anymore. And those places are scary, because I remember when I went through my dark night of the soul when I was, 27, 28 years old. The scariest thing about that was that everything that I had believed in since I could remember, and I didn't grow up religiously. I didn't go to church. That wasn't my story, but I always had this belief in the universe, in consciousness itself, whatever you want to label it. I just always believed in source energy. I always believed in souls. I always believed in, knowing that we come here to grow and to evolve. And all of this stuff. But when I have lost sight of that and feeling like I don't believe in anything anymore, that's scary. That's painful. It has brought me, and it brought me to that place on Friday. I came home and I sat on the couch for like 3 hours just in shock and crying and like, how am I going to get through the rest of my life if this is what it's going to be? I don't want to be in this world like this, and the kind of abandonment of source energy and the not believing it anymore. And I was looking at my ceiling just being like, if you angels and guides can see me right now, like, F you, I do not like you. I do not like you. I hate you. You know, it really, really triggered something very, very deep. And it's the pain of, I know that this is not how it's meant to be. I know that where I come from, where we come from, it is based in truth and in love and the integrity of these things. And it's not that airy, fluffy, new agey, woo-woo, woke, like love and light, love and light. Like, no, when I talk about love and light, I'm talking about, well, love and truth specifically. I'm talking about an energy and a frequency that is actually so powerful. It is in alignment with such integrity that, you know, a warrior of light is not some flimsy, whimsical piece of lettuce. It is a force of nature, and it is a force to be reckoned with, because love and truth and integrity and authenticity, when they're in alignment, woo, they are a blade that will cut through any illusion, lie, fallacy, and lack of integrity, truth, love, and authenticity, right? There is no bullshit when it comes to that. It will defend and fight for all that is sacred, right? And integrity is the piece, is the key word there, because you cannot truly be in love, compassion, light, and authenticity without integrity. So it's like that, it triggered this deeper, this is not what it's meant to be. I can't, this is not what I signed up for. I don't want to live in a society like this. So it pulled me into this, like, I don't want to be here. I have to be here. I have a child, but I don't want to be here. And it was painful to feel this kind of this apathy, this giving up, this just sadness of like, am I just going to be counting the days, the hours, the days, the months, the years until it's my time to like sign off? And then it's like, great, I can go back home. I'm never coming back here again. I don't want to come back to this planet again. I kind of really, I've always felt like this is my last time around. I'm really, really done with being here, unless it can really be the place that I know that it's meant to be in its truest form. So I was low beyond low, just wanting to give up, still feeling just shock, apathy, sadness, anger, fury, really fury. And, you know, I don't know if in this moment I was having a bit like, well, I did ask for faith and I failed that test miserably. Like, here I am asking for faith and this is what I'm being served. Like, no, screw you. I have faith in nothing. Then I get a text. I get this text out of the blue. Well, I say out of the blue, I have these kind of psychic premonitions that come in very quickly when somebody is going to, usually it means that somebody's going to contact me within a matter of 1 to 3 days. And I had this brief thought of this person. I've never met them in person. I don't know them very well. We just had a few kind of online exchanges, nothing more than just talking about some spiritual stuff and whatnot. And anyway, this person came into my mind. The name came in and out. And that was it. 3 days later, now we're at Friday, and this thing has happened. I get a text from them, and they're like, "Hey, it's been a long time." Now, this person, I recognize. I said, it's so interesting. Firstly, you came into my mind 3 days prior, but secondly, there's no coincidence that you are the person that has texted me, because I know this person is very. They have a very strong faith and relationship to God and Jesus. It's not particularly my own path, but what they represent is a complete faith in God and love and unity and the mission that we're here for. So I'm like, there is no coincidence that this person is texting me on a morning where I have lost faith in God, in creation, in creator, in source, universe, whatever you want to label it. So there was this moment of like, okay, wow, is this the faith that I'm learning, that I'm being tested on, because there's no coincidence. And he just sent me this beautiful text. And because I was saying I've lost faith, and I'm having a really hard morning. And it's interesting that this is the day that you're texting me. And just he offered a very beautiful reflection of, you are such a pure heart and soul and so much light coming through you. And you are a remarkable person. Do not forget that. Even if you feel like your light is dimming, you are so full of light. Do not forget that. And, I'm here if you need. And it was just so much support and empathy and a reflection, this beautiful reflection of reminding me of who I am. Right? Reminding me of the essence of who I am. So that was so touching and moving and supportive. And I felt so grateful. Then I had already had plans to meet up with a friend of mine. Our daughters go to the same school. And it was just this beautiful heart to heart, soul to soul conversation. And she was so empathic and understanding. And at one point, and I didn't say anything about the faith factor. At one point she said, when we're moving through these times that are so hard and nothing is working and we can't see ahead of us, we just have to profoundly trust and have faith. And I'm like, there it is again. There is the faith. And, I left that kind of just little meetup with her, just feeling so much more elevated and seen and supported. And I recorded a video. Well, I had recorded a video on my social media that morning just about I was still kind of very emotional, and you could see that I was crying, and was still crying in the video and really sharing openly about, the experience with the policeman. And then I shared another video later that day about faith. And what I recognized was faith doesn't always come in the form of some God or deity or theory or philosophy or whatever that you believe in. Faith came to me in the form of human beings that day. Faith came in the text of this person and in what my friend was speaking to me about. Faith came even through myself when, in a moment where I was so upset and could be so furious, I could have just ripped into this policeman. I could have shouted at him, which is probably what he gets most of the time. But some grace, some form of grace came through me that was like, just speak to this man heart to heart. And my mom said this, and my friend said this, like, you have no idea the butterfly effect. You have no idea what effect you had on this man, that maybe, just maybe, he went home that night and thought about what this woman who was in absolute tears with mascara running down her whole face, shaking in the car, that maybe what she said sparked something in me. Well, what does make, if I'm not happy, then what does make me happy? What does have meaning? What is purposeful? Is this what I want to be doing with my life? Do I want to be a policeman that just gives out tickets and it doesn't make me happy? I'm not a happy person. As my mom and my friend were saying, you have no idea the effect that maybe even just a little bit of his armor got chinked away that day because I was speaking to him heart to heart, soul to soul, human to human. Who knows the effect that has within himself, or maybe his wife or his children, if he had some, or his family or his coworkers, or, we have this idea. I certainly had this thought put into my psyche when I was young that it's in my palm that I'm going to affect the masses. And how many times I was told that by psychics and astrologers and intuitives and this all, and feeling like I failed my mission. Like, part of my apathy was like, I feel like I've failed at everything I've put out there, and like nothing is coming to light, nothing is coming to fruition. I'm actually meeting this real stagnant point, even though I've shifted and I feel like I'm in more alignment and I'm coming more into attunement. And, I have to remember, I'm actually reminded as I say this now, that a friend of mine last week said, yes, you're in this kind of hiatus holding period, but she's like, you are going to have so much more to offer because my attunement to hearing and listening, and because I've been forced into silence and forced into kind of going inwards because there hasn't been much, there's kind of crickets around me in my life, metaphorically speaking, that it's attuned me so much more to, one of the things that this guy said in the text, he's like, Corinne, you're an oracle. I remember he said this, and it's like, oh, I'm tapping back into that. I'd had a session with someone that, works with angels. This was maybe 3 years ago now. And she's like, your third eye is going to begin to open again. I've always had kind of psychic and intuitive abilities, but I kind of scoffed them off, or I didn't trust them. And, I kind of outsourced a lot of that. And as I've shared before, I've come in and out of phases where it's been very much in alignment and very attuned, and other phases where I've kind of forgotten about it. But sometimes we have to go through the plateau where it feels like nothing is happening, but actually everything is happening below the surface in the darkness. The seed always has to begin in the dark soil, right? We just don't notice it until it comes through and it breaks through into the light of day. But that there is this, greater attunement that's coming through, and that, when things then do shift and all of a sudden there is movement, because I know it will come. I know it will eventually come, but when you're in it, it's just so painful, and you feel like you're just hitting your head against an invisible wall again and again and again and again, and you're stuck and you're stagnant and nothing is moving and changing. And yet what is being cultivated on the inside? What is being attuned and refined and fine-tuned, right? So where is this all taking me? The beautiful place that it led me to at the end of Friday, and I still had a weekend where I went up and down and was really teetering along the line of being okay and not being okay. But it just brought me to my faith that day wasn't in a God, source, creator, universe. It came through people. It came through having faith in my own heart and my own ability to try to connect heart to heart. And I think this is what we're moving into right now, is it's not about outsourcing our power or even our faith. It's about recognizing that we will build faith through each other, through ourselves and through each other, when we show up through love, through heart, through compassion. And one of the things that I said in my second video on Fridays, I said, humans without love are so ugly. They do evil, terrible, terrible things. But humans with love are the most extraordinarily beautiful things that you come across. They really are. So it was just so clear to me that faith lies within us and between us. And that's hugely empowering, because the thing is also, the irony from a spiritual perspective is we are God. We are God. Yes, we can pray to a God in the sky. We can pray to universe. We can pray to consciousness, source, creator of all that is. But we are that. We are a part of that, So it's like going and praying to the sea, not recognizing that we are a droplet of the sea, of the ocean. Right? So we're learning to pray to ourselves. We're learning to pray to one another. We're learning that we are source, God, creator, all that is. Universe, energy, frequency, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Now the story continues, because I had somebody reach out to me, message me privately, and they really connected to, what I was talking about, and just the bravery it took to share vulnerably on Facebook and on Instagram. And they were kind of setting foot on this path of authenticity and wanting to be an authenticity coach. And they wanted to have a chat with me and wanted to humbly contribute to, by way of speaking and, speaking about authenticity coaching and learning from me, that he wanted to contribute to this. Fine. And at first I was when I got that message, it was the Saturday morning, and I was still feeling quite down again. I woke up kind of feeling down again. It was like, again, that teeter-tottering. But when I read that message, it was so touching that I was like, really? Like, really? This person wants to contribute to the fine, by just speaking to me. And it was so, again, it's like I have my hand on my heart right now because it was so touching. And of course there's a cynical part that's like, well, is this for real? You know, am I being scammed here? Or is this really for real? But as part of me was like, no, Corinne, have faith. Not in God and the universe and something up there. Have faith in humans. Have faith in people. So I responded and I just said, wow, I don't know what to say other than thank you. Just thank you for your generosity of spirit. I mean, I was really so moved by it. And I said, I'm happy to find a time to speak. And so he responded and I kind of told him what time. And then here I am, like, getting on the call. Still, there's a part of me, I hate that in this world there is still a slight level of skepticism, because I do know people that have been scammed. I do know people that have, gone through some pretty unpleasant things, to say the very least. But there is still this part that's like, no, this person feels like they're in integrity and they're genuine. And, what's the worst that can come out of it is it's like a pay it forward, right? That I'm going to speak to someone and, whatever they're wanting to ask me questions about or to share with. So, I had a conversation with this person and, I could see that there was a genuineness there, and there was this, I always appreciate when people are wanting to step onto this path of authenticity and they're wanting to be of service, on the path of authenticity, because obviously for me, it's been like almost a lifelong passion. And I still, even at the end, and he said, I want to contribute to this. And I just was like, really, whatever you can contribute. I'm just really touched by the motion of that direction. And just for me, it was like, oh my God, there are good humans out there. There are people that are kind and generous of spirit. And anyway, long story short, he did contribute, and it was more than what I was expecting. And it just left me, even before that, just being like, I really genuinely wish him luck in his journey, and that, the bravery to set foot on this path, and, the paying it forward. We have lost that as a society. And one of the things that we were actually talking about, and I shared how he brought up this word, and then I shared about how I saw a reel about this, that instead of using the word that you're spending money, we're circulating money. Money is just an energy. So when we spend, somebody else earns, right? When we earn, we're able to spend so that somebody else can earn, right? But instead of using the terminology of spending and earning, because spending can bring us into scarcity, like lack, we're losing, right? And earning is like, I'm making money, right? But often people make and hoard. But the beauty of this idea of circulation, the circulation of money as an energy that supports each other, the circulation of, energy, of wisdom, of support, whether it's through conversation, whether it's through cooking meals, whether it's being of service through the gifts that we have, whatever it is, just this whole idea of circulating what we do, that is what builds not a society, but a community. And we don't need society anymore. I mean, honestly, like, what got so triggered in me was just like, this is an ugly society. I don't want to be a part of it. But what I do want to be part of is a global community and collective of humans that genuinely care about one another, that are willing to leave this system and everything that entails of division and separation and hatred and righteousness and right and wrong and should and shouldn't and greed and, scarcity, all of that stuff, is to say, no, thank you. I'm not going to play that game anymore. I don't want to be in that war, because there will always be a war, whether it's on the global stage or it's in your kitchen or it's in the walls of your being within yourself, right? That's a whole paradigm. That's a whole frequency, whatever you want to call it, that we're saying, you know what? No. And walking away from that and walking towards one another and say, you know what? I'm going to have faith in you. Because when I have faith in you and the goodness of who you are, in your heart, your essence, your soul, your spirit, that is faith in divine source, God, creator, universe, all that is, consciousness, energy, love. because you are that. I am that. All of creation is that. And we've been in this inversion that has made us feel like humans are the parasite. But it's just because we've been hijacked. And when you have faith that humans are good, you receive good and beautiful things. I felt scared to receive. I'm not going to lie. I didn't realize that it's like, wow, actually receiving that from this person felt vulnerable, because there was a part of me that's like, really? I'm deserving of this? I always thought that I would be, but like when it rubber hits the road, it's like, wow, there's a part of me that doesn't like believe or trust. Like, really? And it moves me. It really moves me to tears that humans can be so beautiful. And so this was probably the part of me that I know that I come from a realm of truth and love. And I know that you do too. And this is what we're bringing down to earth. Earth has always meant to be a place that is heavenly. And it has been turned into hell. And we are turning it back into heaven. But heaven isn't grapes and wine and a fan and, all of that stuff. Heaven is heart. Heaven is leading and living with love. Heaven is compassion. Heaven is generosity. Heaven is kindness. Heaven is connection. So that's what I was trying to create with this policeman. And I still got the ticket. I still had to pay the €100. But the other side of that, which felt like the shittiest of shit moments in that moment where it was like, it cannot get any worse. And I was roaring and crying and screaming, being like, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot take this anymore. Like, I want to give up. I don't want to be on this planet anymore. What that sprouted was these examples of faith in human beings. And the thing is we're not just human beings. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spirit having a human experience. And so in those moments, I'm not just touching into and upon the beauty of humanity, of good, kind, generous humans. What I'm being touched by is the grace of their spirit and soul. And that's what's so moving. And that's what feels like home. And that's what feels like truth. And that's what feels like needs to be created on this planet now. So we need to stop fighting against each other. We need to stop taking sides. If one human suffers, we all suffer. If one human dies, we all feel the pain of that death. Not because their life didn't matter because they weren't the right religion or the right political party. F all of that. Stop it. We can't do this to each other or ourselves anymore. We cannot do it anymore. We want to change the world. We got to be the change. And change only comes through love. Through that generosity of spirit that these three humans showed me. And then we build the faith because we see it, feel it tangibly in front of us. And then we will feel it through some grace of God, universe, spirit, source. But when you actually see it and feel it in tangible form through a person, that they are the expression of God in that moment, of that grace, that's the most exquisite, beautiful thing that there is. Because you're feeling that truth and that energy, but you're seeing it in tangible form. Sometimes people don't believe in God because it doesn't seem tangible. But when you feel grace through a person, that is so tangible. And it is the most comforting thing you will ever feel. So that's what I've learned. And I might still teeter-totter on that line of, am I okay or am I not okay? I'll always be okay, but you know what I mean, of just like being okay in this life and feeling like I can't wait till it's my time to exit. But these stories, these experiences for me give me faith. They allow me to keep going. They reinstate that faith of like, okay, it's okay to be here. I want to be here. I want to make the world more beautiful because these people are showing me that it is beautiful when you connect through heart, through compassion, through integrity, through authenticity. So the invitation today is just take any part of what I just shared and let it ignite something within your belly. You know, a fire was ignited on Friday. It came through anger, and there is absolutely a place for anger, but the anger was... Oh my God, my recording device stopped recording, and I'm really lucky that I caught it, and I thought I'd lost the entire recording, but actually it was probably only a matter of minutes. Whoo, faith is testing me big time. Okay, I'm going to try and backtrack. The fire that was ignited in my belly, the anger that I felt, it wasn't just anger. There's always a purpose to anger. The anger was about this deep, deep desire for that truth and love and authenticity and integrity that I know ourselves to be, and wanting that to be in and of this earth. So it's like, you know, let the invitation today is let that fire in your belly be ignited. Let it be ignited for the truth that you know to be true. Like, I know that we all just want to be happy and at peace and, you know, in connection and in community and collaboration. We all want happiness and peace. So we need to just stop doing this, playing this game of division and separation and competition and greed and righteousness. And I don't know if I already said this, but I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. If one person suffers, we all suffer. If one person dies, we feel the pain of that death. We have to care as a collective, not because that person does or doesn't fit your political or religious views. That is a paradigm that we need to let go of, that we need to walk away from. And we're walking towards why we came here. There is a reason that we came here. We all have a mission and a purpose. And it's not about being famous and successful and having that achievement and that accolade. It's about bringing love and beauty and truth and integrity back into the human collective and back onto this planet and this earth. It's making what has been inverted and turning it right side up. And it's not going to happen by fighting each other. It's going to happen by having faith in each other once more. And faith in the goodness of who we are as humans. And faith in the incredible, immense power that we have as spirit and soul. So the invitation is, find that spark in your belly, ignite that fire of whatever you feel enraged by or just in despair over. Ask yourself why. What is the deeper truth beneath that? What is the deeper heart's yearning and desire, or the mission of your spirit and soul that is like, I am here to create this. I am here to have an impact in this way. And may it be led by heart, and may it be done by in love. Because that's what we need right now. And that's what we're moving through right now. So take whatever part of this story that might ignite that fire and might direct you towards that place of truth and authenticity and integrity and love within you, within your heart, within your being, and let it forge the way for you. Let that be the mark that you leave in this lifetime, because we need one another. We need one another now more than ever. But we've got to do it through heart, through love, through compassion, through generosity of spirit. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. And when you lose faith in all else, can you have faith in yourself, in your own heart and those around you? Can you have faith in the goodness of other human beings rather than just focusing on all that is wrong and bad? Because that's where they're going to feed you. They're going to feed you the doom and gloom. Never mind it. Go straight to your heart. Go straight to being the change you want to see in the world. Give out more smiles. Speak to people more from a heart-to-heart, soul-to-soul place. That's how we're going to change things. War won't go away until we find peace within ourselves, because war can be on the global stage. It can be in your kitchen. It can be within yourself, if I didn't already say that. So let's build faith in one another again. And then I always believe that we see what we believe. So if we believe that humans are good, we will begin to see that again. That's all. Thank you for hearing my stories. And if you ever feel like you want to share the fire that got ignited in your belly, I'm always happy to receive, comments and notes and, from a place of kindness as always. But would love to hear what has been ignited in your belly today. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.